Hey guys, and welcome to episode 2 of Martin's Rhythm Method. I'm Martin Cliffe, guitarist and vocalist for the band Voyager Project, and today we're going to carry on looking, as we looked last week, at power chords, but we're looking at taking them a stage further, if you will. Okay, now one of the cool things we can do about power chords is you can switch around some of the notes in them just to make it a bit more interesting. So if I was to take that fifth note and take it down a semitone to the augmented fourth, which is a tritone, it gives you a very, very metal sound. If you switch between the two, you can get some. Okay, and that's all I'm doing. I'm switching one finger. The easiest way to finger these power chords is to play the root note with your first finger, the fifth with your ring finger, and the octave with your little finger, because then it frees up your middle finger, so you can then move around to play the this augmented fourth, diminished fifth, depending on which way you want to look at it. They're the same thing. So in this case, playing that A sharp. Okay, so that's one of the cool things we can do with power chords. Something else we can do that's really rather nice is we can invert them, which gives you a heavier tone. So instead of going root, fifth, and octave, what we might like to do instead is start with the fifth, which will be B in this case, and the octave, and the root, and then play the fifth again. And that really makes it sound almost like a 7-string guitar, except without having to deal with an extra string. Because that is essentially the power chord shape at its lowest form, just without that low E. And that's really good for getting sort of heavier tones, as I say, without having to get a different guitar out or anything. Okay, and all I'm doing there, as I say, is fretting the 2 strings with the first finger there. And then it doesn't really matter what finger you use for the other note. Again, in keeping with the 1 finger per fret rule, it's always a good idea when you're starting out, just so you get your chord shapes and stuff remembered. If you then play using your third finger, your ring finger. So that mix those two up with ordinary power chords, and you've got already 3 ways of playing chords, 3 different shapes. And if we crank up the distortion a bit, so I'll switch across to my Triple X channel, so it's got more gain to it, then it's starting to sound really quite. Okay, and for that, we've got what sounds starting to sound now like a really sort of heavy rhythm sound, and quite interesting. But all we're using is simple power chords, straightforward down picking strokes. again with a bit of palm muting and plenty of gain. And that's really what a lot of rhythm guitar playing, certainly in metal music, is about. Alternate picking is brilliant, and you should practice it a lot, particularly for lead playing. But the ability to downpick all the time for rhythm playing, it is a really important skill to try and get it as solid as possible. Again, practice it with a metronome. Just practice accenting notes. So rather than just make it all sound the same. If I switch to the JSX amp again, just so that you can hear the pick definition a bit more. That starts to get really boring, but you can throw in the accents and play around with rhythm displacement. So play groups of 4, so accent the first one. So that'd be sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But then something else that's cool to do, and you'll hear it a lot in rock music, is splitting the 8 beats, if you will, half beats, into a 3, a 3, and a 2 across one bar, which will then give you and that's kind of played against a straight drum beat. That just adds a bit of rhythmic interest that's quite fun and works really well. Okay. And then the other thing to do with power chords, I would say, that will take it to a whole other level, is just think outside the box, really. If you move, I don't know, like we did when we played the diminished or the augmented chord, but move your other fingers around. So maybe you'll move the root, so we'll play the E, but then move your first finger down to a D. Okay, and that effectively is giving us a E7 third inversion, or an E over D, if you will. And just for effect, it can work out quite well. You can kind of throw them in. Or just go down 1 fret to a semitone, like I did there with the D over C sharp. And that's almost now an A chord, just with a D note in it. So it's like an A suspended 4, well, an A4 really, but without an A in it in the root, because you've actually playing a C sharp down there. And you can move that around, to any position, and also on the E string. And there I went into that inverted power chord just at the end there. So I hope that's given you some more ideas of where we can take power chords. Please do subscribe. Please tell your guitar playing friends to check out my channel. I want to thank Meal22, who gave me a suggestion that we're going to be looking at in a few weeks. But if you've got any other styles of music that you want to check out, want me to go through and look at how we play rhythm guitar in those styles, then please comment, let me know. Otherwise I'll keep going on the kind of, for the most part, this heavy rock, heavy blues, metal, rhythm style that is kind of my focus, but I'm happy to deviate if anyone wants anything specific. So because of the suggestion, we're going to be looking a little bit at reggae and a little bit of ska a bit later on in a few weeks' time, and hopefully you'll find that interesting. Okay, no bonus video as such this week, although since the last episode I've posted a load of clips of my guitar rig. I think there's 6 videos in total, 2 looking at clean sounds, 2 looking at crunch sounds, 2 looking at lead sounds, with some playing in there as well, and I hope you enjoy them. As I say, please comment, please subscribe, let me know if there's anything you want, and I'll see you next week.